Hello, friends. I'm going to share this fascinating story about a person who was really struggling to make both ends meet during his initial part of his career. What is the secret behind this successful person today who is a very, very successful corporate executive making tons of money? I'm going to share this fantastic secret behind his story to all of you today. My childhood friend, when we were in the ninth standard, he had a major setback in his father's business. The business collapsed due to some issue, and then he was really struggling for to move ahead in his life. He needed to finish his education, but somehow he was not knowing what to do. But somehow he managed to finish his 10th standard. He wants to go and do diploma at that point of time in all the good institutions in Coimbatore. But unfortunately, he didn't have money to go and pursue that particular course at that point of time. So just for 5,000 rupees, he was actually going to different friends, relatives here and there and wanting to somehow get some money to pay. But all the relatives were actually advising him not to get into studies and get into some kind of an odd job here and there. And then they were only advising him to take care of the family, not to get into any kind of education at that point of time. So my friend decided to get into a short-term course on dish antennas and satellite channel networking and all that kind of a course. And then he picked up a small course, he finished his course, and later on he got an opportunity to work in a very small company which is installing the dish antenna and all this cable connection and all that. So he started off a little bit, but with a humble beginning, he made it slowly. He worked very hard with so much of dedication in that company, and later on, he was really in a better position in that particular company. After 2.5 years of working with that company, he, along with his another colleague, wanted to start something similar kind of business. So they pulled in money here and there, and then started a small business, typically into the same dish antenna installation and servicing and all that. But unfortunately, they could not survive. After a few months, they were really struggling and the business did not pick up as they expected. At that point of time, he didn't have any other option. He was really going back to crisis again, and he was looking out for job here and there. And finally, he got an opportunity to work in one of the satellite channels distribution. At that point of time, the ESPN channel, which was the first pay channel in India at that point of time, was telecasting all those cricket matches. So very, very dedicated hard worker, and he started working with that particular company, selling those set-top boxes. And in cricket is religion in our country, and everybody was looking out for that particular game. So he was able to really penetrate the market big time in about 4 to 5 districts of Tamil Nadu, and then of course whole of Kerala. He was having a lot of relationship with all those cable operators, and then he was able to sell those set-top boxes to the length and breadth of these 2 states. One thing about this friend of mine, he's always a keen learner. He always very, very curious to learn something or the other. During this particular job was going on one side, the other side he started focusing more on his individual development. He never misses any of the training programs in the road track meetings and the JC's training programs. He was continuously developing himself. And he also made a point to visit all the major trade fairs and exhibitions related to that particular field, in whatever field that they were in at that point of time. With that kind of a contacts, that kind of interaction with all those buddies in the respective industry, he was able to really make a good net connection with all those people. Once with that kind of a connection, he had a wonderful opportunity to work in one of the multinational company directly from the company side itself. So this is something that he was really looking out for a very long time. He grabbed that opportunity, and then he attended the interview. In the interview, he had presented beautifully with all the data and networks and the kind of connection that he's got in 2 states and the kind of friendship that he commands on all those networking people related to this cable industry. The interview panel was so impressed with this presentation, and finally, with so much of happiness, they offered him a job. But he had faced a small glitch at that point of time, because being an MNC company, the company had a policy to only recruit people with a graduation. And our friend was really missing at that point of time. So the company was not very sure about missing this guy, and they were really seriously wanting to work with him, and they wanted to take him on board. So they spoke to their international counterpart, the corporate HR, and then finally they have decided to give him an opportunity to work. The company offered him a job, as I said before, with one condition to him: to immediately enroll on an educational program and a graduation program. So he rightfully enrolled and then took the job. Within 3 months' time, my dear friends, he went on to perform like hell, and he was the top successful person at that point of time, achieving the target 3 to 4 times more than what the company was given him as a target at that point of time. And from that company, he moved on to another company, and then he is today is working with one of the biggest corporate satellite industry company in India in a very, very senior position, and he's very, very well settled. He's got multiple graduation programs. He finished his MBA, and he's got some certification from various international organizations and institutions across the globe, with multiple certificates and awards to his credit today. So my dear friends, this is a fascinating story. I always look at this particular person and get inspiration from him. How a common person, an ordinary person with some kind of a background, and then went on to go down and again bounce back, and how to really build an empire for himself. Today, the entire family is so proud of him, and all those relatives who were not ready to help him at that point of time is really envy on his particular growth in today's situation. What is the message that we can learn from this particular lesson and this fascinating story is, I would probably put it in about 5 different lessons that we can learn from them. The first lesson is about how passionate are you to learn, how curious are you to learn. The second thing that I want to talk about is how passionate are you about your goal, and the focus on goal, how actually makes you to perform whatever you want to achieve. And the third and most important thing, be a natural networker. Wherever you are, the industry, the forum, wherever you are, how can you build network? How can you become an extraordinary person? How can you become close with all of them? How those network can really help you to build net worth. That is the third lesson that I want to talk about. The fourth lesson that I want to talk about is, when an opportunity comes your way, how can you grab it? When an opportunity comes your way, how can you grab it? So that's the fourth lesson. And the fifth lesson and the final lesson that I want to leave you with is, how are you giving yourself the best every single time? If you wanted to perform, if you want to produce result, all you need to do is to give your best. And once you give your best, you can achieve multiple targets. And once you achieve targets, and nobody can afford to leave you. Hope you enjoyed this story. Bye bye.